you don't have enough area. You have to remove the amount of, the square footage for the road that was in there, that can't be counted as land for development, or are we under some special rules here?
The planning board approved the project.
The planning board says they never saw this. Now, I've got several of the members, and they say they don't know, so I'm asking you guys how it happens. You don't have enough land to do what you wanna do up there, or do everything that you think you wanna do. I wanna know how you can do it. You've got a road in here that's using up damn near half an acre, you don't show the second road that leads out to School Street, which needs to be taken out of that equation. You can't give 5,000 square feet to a building when it requires 10. The planning board doesn't have that authority.
Alan, please.
The entire parcel is being leased. It's all owned by the town. The town retains the right to occupy the two buildings that are, well, the police station and the Estabrook building. And the town, the only thing that the Batemans can develop pursuant to the lease is the school premises. That area around the original school building, that is.
What's highlighted in green?
And that's highlighted in green.
You're gonna put,
Can you let me finish off?
Excuse me, Oscar.
Thank you.
well,
Excuse me.
So that is what they can develop. The rest of the land is part of the lease because the planning board, in its review, determined that all that acreage was needed in order for there to be a proposal for, how many units?
34 units.
34 units. So that's what it is. The town owns the entire lease. There's no reason, because the town is gonna occupy the police building, to hold back a 10,000 square foot. There's no reason for that to be part of what the town is excluding. They own the whole parcel, so therefore, that remains as one piece. It's gonna continue to be utilized, having multiple buildings like properties do in town. So there's really no problem with just retaining the rights to the building. But what we've gone beyond what was in the original lease is that we have the right and retain the rights to utilize some of the land around the two buildings for passive recreation use. If the Estabrook building gets torn down, you wanna put a soccer field up there, the town's within their rights to do that. The town wants to rebuild the police station as long as it's within the same footprint, and I doubt you'd ever need a police station that big if you had it built in the future, that the town has the right to do that as well. So I just wanna make that clarification for the terms of the lease.
Thank you.
I respectfully don't agree with you, sir. You're circumventing the subdivision regulations deliberately. And it's not a precedent this town should be setting. Okay?
Excuse me, Oscar, he's not circumventing anything. This is
Yes,
from
he
the
is.
planning board.
All right. Why isn't the,
He explained that to you.
Hmm?
He explained it to you. This was from the planning board.
All right, let's call some planning board members up and have them tell me, sure. All right, where's the copy of the deed that we're conveying to these gentlemen? Why isn't that for public inspection?
I just did not provide it for reconveyance. I was under the impression that we were concerned about the ground lease. I've heard tonight that some folks like to see the conveyance agreement. I'll put it on the website in the 3 locations that I presently have. I will have it available for you at the open town meeting, so you can review that and ask your additional questions at
Keith, why do you keep putting it on? Why can't we have it now and look at it and have a chance to study it before town meeting? Okay, where's the agreement for the public to look at, where you've agreed to let these guys work on this building?
as part of the option agreement that we already signed.
Where is that? Why isn't it available to the public? You forgot that too. Keith, it just doesn't look good. You know, why do you want to inform the townspeople of what's going on? And give them an opportunity to review this stuff before the deadline? All right, one last thing. I have a whole bunch of things, but I'll let them ask. I don't want to use up all the time. 4 weeks ago, I brought to Keith's attention the fact that Brian Canning was over here.
Hold on, no, we're only discussing this matter at this point.
No, you have to put me in.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you could give me some clarification, because it seems very open-ended. Shall the selectmen for the town of Berwick be authorized to enter into a long-term lease agreement and related documents? I have no idea what that means. Does that mean that if you have to deed over again, that you can? If this was to be voted through? For the leasing of the old Berwick High School and surrounding grounds on School Street with Sullivan School Associates or a related entity. I have no idea who that is. I have no idea what kind of documents you're going to be giving out. It seems very open-ended, and it gives the power pretty much to the board to make the decision. I'd kind of like to know what kind of power that is before I even try to make a decision on the vote. Secondly, I would like to say, yes, grant money is out there, but it's not free. Everybody here pays for it. And the next thing is, I would hope that anybody who is excited about this project, I understand it's a good thing for us, I understand the mess that's over there, but I would really hope that anybody who may or may not have an indirect dealing with that sometime in the future would solemnly abstain from voting on anything or speaking of it. Thank you.
Cal, answer.
Yeah, I just
You
wanted,
can't answer this related document.
yeah, I just wanted to say, because, since I was the one that helped draft the language, I think I should try to explain why I was there. There are two financing entities involved in this transaction. One is Maine State Housing, the other is Bangor Savings Bank. There's a fair amount of money involved in these loans, and we're talking about millions of dollars. Anybody who's been through a commercial loan transaction knows that there are oftentimes documents that get created that have to be signed. I found out about one of them this morning, so that's the reason why we had to have related documents in there, because we can't say exactly, what is it going to be, and that's why you're appointed as selectman or elected as selectman, because there has to be some decision-making involved in this process. But I think it's very appropriate for you to get the authority to sign a lease, but also have the authority to sign the related documents. And as far as the entity's concerned, in any commercial transaction, the Batemans have a lot of different businesses going. They don't necessarily know, they probably know now, but we just wanted to make sure we have the flexibility of giving them the option of creating an entity that, I think they've already created a single purpose entity for this development, but just again, in an exercise of precaution, just kind of left that open-ended, but it's obvious who the people are. It's going to be these gentlemen, and, I think we do know what the name of the entity is gonna be now. I was very sure at the time that we drafted this.
Peter Perry. I have a couple of questions. One question that I'd like to know is, the gentleman never identified himself, and I'm just curious what his name is. That's an inappropriate pass now.
David Rodriguez. My name's David Rodriguez.
Thanks. One thing about this sketch here, I don't think the planning board probably ever did see this during their discussions, because this sketch is dated 7/20/2011, which was about a month ago. And this was approved by the planning board about 2 years ago. So they never saw this. I wasn't on the planning board at the time, it was during my hiatus, but I did go to almost every meeting that this project was discussed by the planning board. So I did pay a little attention to it. I assume that on this sketch that we see, the whole colored line is the whole parcel that the town actually owns. There's no other land associated with it, I don't think. And another thing too is that the density calculation was based upon supposedly from this whole gross area minus of any of the wetlands, and there are some substantial wetlands up there, minus right-of-ways and all of that stuff. So the drawing is not really accurate to what the planning board probably originally looked at and voted on, and where the density calculations came from. I also contend that there should be 10,000 acres, 10,000 square feet designated for the police station, because that is what the resource talks about for density for each building. But that aside, my original questions before my interest got peaked about that was, this process started about 3 years ago, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. It wasn't very transparent at the beginning, and I think it was somewhat poorly managed all through the whole process. And that's why now, 3 years later, we're kind of at this dilemma. But I'm curious, originally, I'm curious as to was the money that originally was going to be applied for this project, there was talk about a 9% and a 4%, I think, money. Whether that was part of the money package that is currently being used to invest. So the original monies were those monies that we're talking about. Because originally, when the money was applied for, an application was submitted, it was deficient in some line items, so the project dragged on even longer. But we're still talking the same package of money. The original funding that was being requested is what is currently on the table. Okay. One other line item that I'm curious about, and it's the transfer of the deed for the property. If I understood the meeting we had about the brownfield, that basically you're looking for the $50,000 in loans, and that's what the transfer of the deeds for. And we're talking about $450,000 in remediation money total. It's kind of hard for me to believe that we're going through such a contorted, strenuous process to do $50,000.
I would love to answer that question. That's how financially thin this project is. It took us 3 years through planning to work through the Maine State Housing Authority's 9% tax credit program. We went through 3 funding rounds before this project was selected. It's highly competitive. This project has been a very difficult project to bring to market. That's why the school has sat vacant for this period of time. We are really talking about $50,000 being the make or break in this project when we're dealing with $450,000 of unknown environmental costs that we were faced with about 4 months ago that came to light at this point in time. That's really how financially thin these projects are to make work. And on the flip side is, with that, it makes this a very viable project that can have a school that sat vacant for this period of time become a vibrant piece of this community. That is how important it is. Trust me, if we didn't need to go after that additional $50,000 of fund and go through this process and have you good townspeople come out and hear this process, we wouldn't do it.
Any other? Okay, I'll move to Article 3. Or is there anything?
No, I think that you have to take a motion in a second to sign the warrant for the special town meeting, scheduled for the 24th.
Do we have a chance to ask
Joe,
Oh,
questions?
absolutely.
Joe, somebody has their hand up.
I'd like to ask Alan a question. Alan, you mentioned the Estabrook School, and you said if we tore it down, it could be used for soccer field. If we tore it down, can we not use the same size for another building?
That's right, that's right. You know, if for some reason right now, we're talking about a long period of time that this property is in lease, but we retain the rights to rebuild on the Estabrook site if you wanted to tear that building down and build something else. It can't be any bigger than the existing footprint.
Yeah, I
But you
understand.
have the right to do that, yes,
We have retained that right.
yes.
Okay, and I got one other one. And I think I've asked this before, and I never got the answer that I really wanted. I realized that they have done deeds before. South Berwick has just done a deed for the library to the developer or whoever, and I have no idea who's doing it. But as I studied that, it's all the ones that I found